Welcome to our RA Q&A. Just before we get started, we acknowledge that we are guests on the unceded territory of the Syilx Okanagan peoples. We're grateful to be here living and learning on this beautiful land. My name's Avery, and I'm an RA in Kalamalka, and my major is Indigenous Studies, and my pronouns are she, her.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Darius. I'm an RA for Monashi. I am a fourth-year mechanical/mechatronics student here at the University of British Columbia, and my pronouns are he, his, him.
Okay, so today our plan is to go through some questions that were submitted over the course of the week, and then if you have any more that come up, just feel free to comment them, and you can also use the question function to list or to suggest your comment or to ask your question. Anyway, so we'll get started with the first one. I thought an RA was a research assistant. Who's an RA and why does it matter?
Okay, should I take the question?
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. So RA could stand for research assistant or resident advisor. Here we mean resident advisor. And now the question is, who is an RA? That's an excellent question. So RAs are advisors who are full-time student employees who live and work in their buildings. There's an RA for each and every floor. Most of the time there's just two RAs per each floor. So you would have an RA and then you would have a co-RA, which is a co-RA. And these are people who live in the communities, help you out, conduct programs, that sort of a thing. They're there for your well-being as well as your safety. And the second part of the question is, why does it matter? Do you want to take that part?
Yeah. So RAs are here to help build a community among the residents, to help residents that are new to campus or in their first year of university feel settled and welcomed, and to also just give them an enjoyable time at campus and in university. We're there to support them and be that mentor person for them and help them through whatever they need. So it's really important because it helps students feel like they have a connection to someone and have support as they're living away from home.
Perfect. All right. Question number 2 on our list. What responsibilities do you have as an RA? Ooh, good question.
Yeah. There's lots of responsibilities that you have as an RA. The first one is that you are a role model for the residents. So you have to make sure that you're following the residents' contract and modeling that behavior for the residents. You also have a responsibility to build a community among your residents to make sure that they're all having an enjoyable time and that you're helping and supporting them to the best way possible. You also have responsibilities such as administrative duties and submitting different forms and different logs. You also have responsibilities such as being on call, and I think we'll talk about that later. There's some questions about that. And you also have responsibilities to focus on yourself and your academics and your social life. That's a big part of being RAs. We do want everyone to get the chance to enjoy life too. You're a student first, and you're also just a person that gets to enjoy your life. So yeah.
Perfect.
What year do you have to be an RA?
Ooh, good question. So you can apply to be an RA right after your first year on campus. The applications are currently open. So for those who are here after first year, they closed on the 23rd. Mm-hmm. On the 23rd. So after first year.
Or do you want to ask?
Oh yeah, sorry.
No, that's okay.
All right. How long are shifts on call usually?
Okay, so your on-call shifts, so you're technically your technically on-call shift is around like 12 hours, but you're not working the entire time. Nope. At 6:45 p.m., that's when your on-call shift will exactly start. That's when you've checked in with the other RAs that you're on call with that night. And then later in the evening, you do either 2 to 3 rounds, depending if it's a weekday or a weekend. And your rounds can range anywhere from 25 minutes to an hour, just depending on an area. So, yeah, your night rounds, it's 2 to 3 per night.
2 to 3 per night, perfect. And just adding on that, well, I guess the next question actually answers this. So the next question was, how do RA rounds actually work? And how often do you have to go on these night rounds? So I guess I can...
Yeah.
Okay. So the way RA rounds work is that we have check-in here at one of our spaces where we check in, we get updates from our senior RA, updates from our resident life managers or the front desk, whether that be putting up posters or other sorts of activities. We then go out to grab our keys, grab our on-call bags, and we're off on our rounds. So depending, like Avery said, depending on whether it's a weekday or a weekend, it could be 2 to 3 rounds. So our rounds start, we have designated areas. So there's North Trad, South Trad, and then we have Cascamon. So I'm the RA for Cascamon, if I was on call. I would then begin my rounds at a designated spot, go through each of the floors of my building, or if, in the case of Cascamon, the upper or lower cascades. And after a certain amount of time, when I've gone through all the buildings, checked everything's okay, everyone's good, that call would end. And then I would go on call again at another time. So again, depending on whether it's a weekday or a weekend, that would be 2 to 3 times in the night. That's just a rough summary of how our rounds work. And how often do you have to do night rounds? Now, this actually depends in a month, whether you're a Cascamon RA or whether you work in one of the traditional buildings. As a Cascamon RA, I usually go on call maybe 2 to 3 times a month. And then this could be a mixture of weekdays or weekends or maybe both.
Your rounds are in Cascamon. They're usually on call only 2 to 3 times, but their rounds are a little bit longer. And then for in the trad style buildings, for example, Nechako and Kalamalka, your rounds are usually only taking 30 minutes, but you're on call 4 to 5 times a month. And also, just to finish the last question, I realized I didn't say, so you're on call and then to the next morning until 8 a.m., but you don't have to be awake the entire time. You can go to sleep, and then you just wake up to text your on-call partner if there's any updates.
Yep, that's correct. And then just adding on that, so on-calls begin for us, so on-call RAs start from 7 p.m. of that day and go until 8 a.m. the next day.
How much of a time commitment is it? How many hours do you work a week?
Okay, good question. It is a time commitment, to be honest. You are getting around 12 hours per week.
Yeah,
12,
I would say
12 hours per week officially. Obviously, because it is a place where you work and you live, it can be more or less depending on the weekend, depending on how many events you're hosting. So a good time management schedule is necessary. And then just adding on that, how many hours do you work? Yeah, that would be around, on average, 12 hours per week.
And you can choose to put more I think that as you're running programs throughout the semester and you're engaging with residents, it's hard to give an exact number of how many hours. It differs per RA, and how they schedule themselves, and what programs they run. So it really just depends. It is a job that's built for students, so it's for sure manageable. Darius is an engineer, and he takes like 6 classes, and so it is possible definitely to still enjoy life and be an RA and do well in school.
Perfect.
So yeah.
All right. Okay, perfect. Next question. So the next question is, how stressful can it be trying to balance schoolwork and being an RA? And the second part of the question is it hard to balance between classes and planning events?
Yeah. So it does take a lot of time management and scheduling, but that's also why we have managers and senior RAs. They're there to support us and to help us learn how to better time manage and plan things out. So if you're organized and you stay on top of your schoolwork and you stay on top of your RA duties, it's very manageable. And yeah, you also do have work. You do have free time in that too. It can be stressful during midterm season, but then you kind of plan your programs around that time, because chances are if you're doing midterms, your residents are. So they're not going to be wanting to do long programs. You could do a study night with them, and then you're doing school and you're interacting with your residents. And then around in final exam season, RAs don't have to run programs or plan events during that time, and your duties as an RA are kind of scaled back so that you do have time to study for those finals. What is the social life like after being an RA? Do we need to give up our social time?
Ooh, good question. You do have a social life. Yeah, obviously, because it is a job, just like any other job, you're giving up time for one thing for another. So in terms of that, yes, you have to plan it around your social life, but that doesn't mean that it's going to be diminished. You don't really need to give up your social time. Yes, there are on-call nights where you have to be on campus when you're conducting these nights, but then again, that's the whole point. So you have to be good with time management. So whether that means, okay, you know that if you're going on call the next weekend, you could probably tell your friends, okay, maybe I'm not free Friday, maybe we can move it to Saturday, that sort of a thing. And again, this just goes back to the same part, but it's just like any other job, right? If you were on night duty somewhere, or if you're working, you obviously can't do something else while you're at work, right? So yeah, it's just, you do have a social life, you just have to plan around it.
And you do, yeah, like when you go to the dining hall, Darius is not on the meal plan with his position as an RA, but I am. That's lots of social time in there to interact with the other RAs. And yeah, you become friends with your coworkers, just like any other job. Yeah.
Right, and I'm just going to add on to that. When you become an RA, you automatically gain around 80 to 85 friends, as it is. So it's not like your social life diminishes. You get maybe a different taste of social life as well, because at the same time, you also are getting around 50 students-ish on your floor.
Yeah.
Right? So it's about spending time through your programs, spending time through meetings with other RAs. So at the end of the day, you do get that social life that you want.
Yeah, you get to meet a whole bunch of new people, so it's awesome in that way. Oh, hi, Katie. Do you want to ask this one?
Yeah,
or?
for sure.
Okay.
So what are some common mistakes new RAs make, and how to avoid/fix them?
Okay, I think there's a couple different mistakes. I think that we can both say that we made a few mistakes. But I think there's kind of like two ends of the spectrum I want to talk about. Like the first one is you can be like kind of the RA that goes all in, all at the beginning, and tries to be the best at everything, and just is running all these programs your first month in September, putting all this work into your decorations and bulletin boards, which is amazing. But then you're more likely to get burnt out. So it's really important that as an RA, you're not stretching yourself too thin, and that you're pacing yourself throughout the semester, so that you can stay in a good mental health, or you can have a positive mental health, and so that you can keep enjoying your life. And then kind of some other mistakes are you could be a little bit scared and nervous and not reaching out to the resources that you do have as an RA, and maybe you're uncomfortable with your new residents and you're having a hard time, and so then you just don't do many activities or programs at all. And for that, how to fix that would be reaching out to your senior RA, reaching out to your manager, working with the PRAs, our program resource advisors that are there to help you with your programs. So yeah, I think that's another mistake, is that some RAs don't reach out to the resources that you have. Yeah,
and I'll just add on to that. We are students first, so obviously the mental well-being of us is of the utmost importance. But at the same time, like Avery said, we have an abundance of resources, right? Whether it be our managers, whether it be our CORAs, whether it be our seniors, or whether it just be any one of the residence life employees. We all have resources, so we can avoid these mistakes.
Yeah. There is 2 weeks of training at the end of August that is going to teach you so much. And so even if you make a mistake, chances are that you've learned about it and you've learned how you can fix it. So yeah. The next question we have is, do you get to live in residence at a lower price? / do you get a discount to live in residence?
Okay. No. Short answer, no. Long answer, we do get paid a salary. So the resident advisor position is a paid position, as is the senior RA or the PRA positions. So while we don't get to live in res at a lower price or as a discount, we do get paid. And you could use that to pay your housing or wherever you may want to allocate those funds. And
then tying in with that question, do you get paid an hourly rate?
It's not an hourly rate. It's more of a monthly salary that we get. It's a whole yearly salary that's split up in a month, so we get paid bi-weekly.
I saw Katie, I think, ask this question on there, but then we also have this question next. What's your favorite part of the job? I think we can both answer this. Do you want to start?
Ooh, good question. I think the favorite part of the job is just meeting people in general. I love talking, as everyone knows. So it's just getting the chance to just, as soon as you're getting out of your res, you meet like 20 of your residents. It's a wonderful time. You're going around Kelowna, you see your residents on campus, that sort of a thing. And tying into what I said earlier, once you become an RA, you automatically gain these 85 great friends, right? So it's just that you gain this new social life, and you gain this sense of community. And I think that's my favorite part of my job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, mine's very similar to that. I love all the connections I've made this year. I've met so many new people, and from meeting new people, I gain new insight about different things. I gain new perspectives, and I just love interacting with new people and learning about other people. So that's probably been my favorite part. I also like all the fun activities that I get to do. If I want to play a sports game, but I can't really do that at home alone, but here I have 40 residents that chances are that one of them wants to go do that. So it's just so great being around everyone.
Okay, perfect. So the next question would be, what has been your favorite experience being an RA?
Okay, that's kind of similar to the last one, but I would say my favorite experience is some of the programs I've run or I've attended. I really enjoyed when I ran my social program, and I chose to do it as a planting party. And plants are one of my favorite things, so it was really fun to do that with my residents. A lot of them don't have plants or thought that they couldn't take care of a plant, so it was really cool to be able to teach them that and mentor them into doing that, being a little plant parent.
All right, for me, I think my favorite experience would be running our needs-based programs that we run every month. So I remember during the first semester where it was almost midterm season, so everyone was a bit stressed. I remember we held some Just Dance events. Those were a lot of fun. I do not know how to dance, so that was very interesting. We had some painting events that we had going on. So just, I think, the programs in general are what I really like as an RA. You get to interact with a lot of people, you get to have fun, and it's been an amazing experience.
Okay, we only have a few more questions, but I think, what are the characteristics of an ideal RA?
Okay, so I think the characteristics of an real ideal RA kind of vary. Obviously, being friendly, going out of your way to making feel like other people are welcome, creating the sense of community. Those are just some of the characteristics that I try and employ as an RA. Do you have some?
I would say, I think, a big one is being empathetic. You're going to get a whole bunch of people that are from everywhere over the world, and you need to be able to try and understand from their perspective why they're doing something, why they're acting the way they are, and why they're saying something. So it's really important to be able to put yourself in their position and understand where people are coming from. And it's okay if you're a little bit more reserved or introverted. You may have heard in other sessions, we do have quite a few RAs that are introverted, but it's more about being warm and welcoming to residents so that they know that they can still come to you, and that you're going to be kind to them and compassionate.
Yep, and just adding on to that, there are 85 of us, and each one of us who are 85 have different characteristics. Nothing is going to be very similar or very different, right? There's a reason why there's a varying amount of people in the team. Like Avery said, there are people who are introverted, people who are extroverted. But the one common thing that we have is that we want to make you feel welcoming. So I think that's what makes an ideal RA.
Yeah. How do we get the required first aid training, and where can it be done?
Okay, good question. So the required first aid training is needed before the actual training that takes place for RAs. You can get it done anywhere. It just has to be certified by the Canadian Red Cross, I believe. And it is the standard first aid plus CPR and the AED training.
Not sure if it needs to, I don't think it has to be the Red Cross exactly, because mine isn't,
okay.
But it just needs to be one that's certified and a legit company that's you're getting it. You do have to show them your certificate. But for me, I from a different province, and we were locked down in COVID, so I actually wasn't able to get my first aid right before training, which is a rare thing. But if you have a really busy summer and you're not able to get it for some reason, the RLMs, the managers will work with you to make sure that you get that before you start your on-call rounds where you really need it for. And I was able to do it in Kelowna. There's some online courses that you can take, so it's going to be really important that you try and get that right before training.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah.
And okay, maybe okay.
One of the RAs asked this one. This one's funny, but it's, can I go back and be a PRA even though I'm graduating? Unfortunately, if you're graduating, you're not a student anymore, so you can't come. But we do appreciate visitors. I'll just make sure there's no other questions that anyone wrote out on here. But yeah, do you have any other things to add or?
Yeah, any other questions, whether you want any questions regarding traditional style housing or whether you want suite style, we're here, and we'll be glad to take any questions.
Yeah, and you can always email the residence life, and you can always go to the housing front desk and ask for some more information, or you can just go talk to one of your RAs, because they will know a lot of the same things that we know. So yeah, thank you for joining us today, everyone. It was very nice to have a lot of people join, and we hope that you all are able to submit those applications before 11:59 p.m. on Sunday night.
Ooh, okay. We have a question right here.
Oh, perfect.
Do RAs need a meal plan? So, yes and no, depending on where you live. So for me, since I'm from Cascamon, and Cascamon is basically Monashee and Upper Lower Cascades, we do not require a meal plan. But however, other RAs or other residents do require.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm in Calmilk. I'm one in the trad style buildings. And so, yes, you do need the meal plan. And it's really important that you have the meal plan so that you're able to go into the dining hall and interact with your residents there. You're a peer to your residents. So it's really important that you're going to the same places and going through the same experiences so that you can relate to each other.
Perfect. And then the next question is, to be an RA, do you have to have lived in residence before?
Oh, this is a good one for me too, because I was in Manitoba for my first year of school. I'm only in my second year. And so this year was actually my first year at the campus and in residence. So no, you don't have to have lived in residence before.
Yeah, you can also double check that by contacting the front desk here or shooting their residence life an email.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, do you want to?
Oh, yeah. Do RAs have roommates?
Yes or no, depending on where you live again. So me, personally, I live in Monashee, so all the RAs in Monashee live in studios, so I do not have a roommate. RAs who live in Lower Upper Cascades do have roommates, so they're part of a quad. And I think every other building does have a roommate.
Yeah, there's some it kind of depends on the buildings. There are some buildings where some of the RAs in the trad style buildings don't have a roommate because they're specific RA rooms. But for the most part, RAs in the trad style buildings have roommates. I have a roommate. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's all our questions for today. We hope you guys have a good weekend and good luck with your applications if you're applying.
Yeah, good luck. And yeah.
Take care.
Take care, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.